We go back now to that story that's been, of course, leading in the news today. Gauteng Education MEC Panyaza Lesufi joins us now to discuss the matter further. MEC, good evening and thank you very much for your time tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Mvula. Are you well?
I'm well. I hope you're well too.
I'll be fine one day. Thank you so much.
MEC, we are discussing something rather shocking today that has been revealed in the report by the Maverick Citizen, indicating that between June and August in 2020, an amount of 431,274,959 was spent by your department in 3 months to sanitize school. As the executive authority that accounts to legislature for this department, what do you say to this amount being spent to sanitize school over 3 months, a protocol that was actually not required by both the Department of Health and the Department of Labor?
Thank you so much, Mr. Mvulu, for the opportunity. Indeed, I share the frustration of society and all South Africans that have registered their shock on this unfortunate incident. I was not fully aware about the procurement of these services. I only became aware when I received questions from the journalist who was raising reservations that the department officials were not cooperating with him and were not meeting his deadline. And I took upon myself to get the report and I handed it over. When I went through the report, I felt that something is not right. Maybe it's very important that we need institutions that are properly mandated to deal with these matters of investigation so that they can clarify whether the figure is correct, whether the services were rendered, whether indeed this kind of work was needed by our schools. As soon as we get that report, we'll be in a position to take appropriate action. But I'm personally taken aback, I must be honest. I really feel that something is not right. And therefore, I've requested the department to give me a report. They gave me a report. I've studied that report. I brought along our legal team. They're advising me on how to bring all the relevant law enforcement agencies that can assist us to speedily investigate this matter and determine whether indeed the services were required and whether there was value for money.
Yeah. In the interest of separation of power, we do understand that your role is that of providing coherent strategic leadership on matters of policy, the coordination and the overseeing of service delivery. However, that does not divert you from asking questions about the implementation of the projects that have got to do with national policy. National policy is in place, or regulation around COVID-19 and what needs to happen. The PFMA is very clear on how the HOD and the MEC are supposed to work together on this matter. MEC, did you drop the ball in terms of monitoring the implementation of this project?
Surely not, but unfortunately, we have to check the law enforcement agencies to assist who was responsible. I'm glad you said it, that there's a separation of power. There are things that must be done by the accounting officer, and there are things that must be done by the executing officer, which is the MEC. It's quite clear that issues of procurement are a no-no from political offices, and are a sole terrain of the accounting officer, including the CFOs. And that's the reason when this matter was brought to my attention, I requested a report from them. You will see from the report that we received that indeed someone needs to explain and someone needs to take accountability. And if as the overall head of the institution I need to take accountability, I will also do so. But for now, let those that took the decision provide us with a report, and on the basis of that report, we can account to society. There's no way that I can account to society or take accountability when I was not even aware, I was not part of the processes, and these processes were far beyond my mandate.
But MEC, the fact that you cannot account for this amount of money in itself says you failed to play your oversight role. I mean, that is exactly the same reason why your former colleague in the Department of Health was dismissed. That is also what the arbitrator found previously when dealing with the health of Life Esidimeni around the role of the MEC. The arbitrator found that it was in fact the job of the MEC to ensure that the implementation of plans in the delivery of the mental health services in Gauteng was done according to standards and plans and budgets that are put in place. And this was something that you're not supposed to look at after the fact, but as the project is being implemented.
I think you're confusing matters, Mr. Mdluli, which is unfortunate. This is a financial matter. It's not a policy matter. It's a procurement of issues. Someone must advertise people to be procured. And in all that value chain, there's no role of the MEC. You can even check the PFMA. There's no way that the MEC have to go through. It's a role of the accounting officer. Yeah. And there's no need for the accounting officer to account to me on those matters. It is clearly his mandate with those that they are requesting service providers to render those services.
I agree with you to a point. I agree with you a point. That does not mean that the MEC does not have financial responsibilities. Firstly, you've also mentioned that the HOD must report to the MEC on the financial, commercial, and socio-economic strategic performance of the department.
Yes, and those reports either comes quarterly or comes monthly or otherwise. So this part of this report has not reached my desk, and that's the reason why I fast-tracked it and requested that I be given a report. But Mr. Mdluli, let me put it this way. I'm also alarmed and taken aback. And I'm not sure, indeed, that the money that is being quoted is the exact money that was utilized. So I need to get people that are independent outside the department to provide that kind of information to us. As soon as we get that information, it will alert us who dropped the ball. If it's me who dropped the ball as a person that is leading the institution, I'll publicly state so. If it's officials of the department that dropped the ball, I'll also notify society about that issue. But at this present moment, I'm also taken aback. It's a matter that I was not aware. It's a matter that I was not clued on. It's a matter that I was not briefed. It's a matter that was not brought to my attention. I don't even know even a single service provider that has been appointed. But let's get those that can assist us to get that information to resolve it. But I share the frustration of society. I also share the shock of the amount of money that has been used, including the period that has been used. But I'm not even sure whether it is justified or not justified, whether indeed the work was executed or the work was not executed. And as soon as I get the team that is working on this matter, let me assure you, you'll be the first one to get the report. And I will take appropriate action. Even if it means to sack some of the people, I will do so.
Gauteng Education MEC Panyaza Lesufi, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Newsweek Late Night.